On today's primetime local news, Australian Lakeland Rustler players are collecting donations for the bushfires.
Yeah, any amount, big or small, is going to go a long way.
And a look ahead to the weather farmers may be expecting this year.
It just keeps going on. We're going to see spring being very difficult for some producers.
Tips to avoid injuring yourself while shoveling the heavy snow. Plus, the border city was host to the 2019 U21 Curling Provincials.
Prime time local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
And as the fight against these fires continue to gain support across the globe, a couple of Rustler student athletes from Down Under are doing their part to help their country by raising awareness and funds. Josh Ryan has more.
Despite some security in knowing their families are away from the danger, seeing the images from home hasn't been easy for Lakeland's Australian athletes.
I guess they're kind of happy that we're over here, not having to be stressed about that, I guess. But then again, it's in our hometowns. Like, you're always going to be thinking about it. And it is just awful. I mean, 1 billion animals have died. 20 people are dead. There's 50 missing in a fire. It's hard.
For sure, anyone that we know that's a firefighter, we're pretty worried about them. They're putting in long days, long hours.
Being over here and not being at home and kind of feel a little bit like helpless. Not that being at home you'd be able to help out a ton anyways, but just being there.
This Saturday, the men's volleyball team will have a donation box available for both matches to help in whatever way they can.
Those who want to donate are welcome to, and yeah, any amount, big or small, is going to go a long way.
Having strong relationships with teammates has helped during this time.
Obviously my teammates know how close it hits to home with both Taylor and I.
The four have also appreciated the words and well wishes from their community.
Yeah, I don't mind when people bring it up to me because it's like they genuinely care if I'm affected, how like my hometown's going. And honestly, the more people that know, the more people can donate, the more people can help. Anything is something at this point.
I've been approached by 10 to 20 people even today asking how my family is, and even from the other side of the world, people genuinely care. And so to see that much care for Australia all the way from Canada, I think that's been really, really cool to see, I thought.
The players are thinking of forwarding the funds straight to the Red Cross Foundation.
They donate it to firefighters, people affected by the fires, and just all that kind of stuff. And even after the fires, they're starting up programs and stuff like that to help support those people in need.
And they hope that people will continue to visit and support Australia in the future.
If you're planning a trip to Australia, they'll never appreciate it anymore.
Josh Ryan, Primetime Local News.
After the amount of snow we've received over the past few days, one of the first things people decide to do is clean off their driveway and sidewalk. But injuries can still happen when shoveling the heavy snow. Some of the injuries more common from shoveling are back, shoulder, and neck injuries. One kinesiologist at Alta SAS Wellness says there is a few ways to avoid injury in the way you shovel.
Generally speaking, you want to move your hips and your shoulders as a unit. A lot of people try to twist through their back, and that's where you see the injuries. Additionally, you can try to lift more with your legs and your low body rather than lifting the shovel with your arms and your shoulders. That's where you usually get most of the injuries.
Whenever people do shovel, most of the time they want to get it finished as quick as possible, and sometimes that means carrying more snow. Fry says taking your time while shoveling is a good way to abstain from injury.
A lot of people try to fill their shovel like the fullest they can because they want to get done fast, right? But generally speaking, you want to take as much as you feel you can handle and no more than that. I mean, if it takes you longer, that's okay. You should, take breaks if you need to. Trying to do too much too fast is usually a cause of injury as well. So.
Fry says whenever walking on snow and ice, try to shuffle like a penguin to avoid slipping. It was a successful year of adoptions for the Lloydminster and District SPCA. In total, 607 animals were adopted in 2019. The numbers are down from previous years, but a new admission system has helped lower the number of animals in the shelter.
A few years ago, we were at about 630, I think, so it's gone down a little bit. But since we started our managed admissions a few years ago, we've been able to steady our numbers a little bit more, and we're able to lower the numbers in shelter while adopting at the same time.
Partnerships the SPCA made with stores like PetSmart and Puppy Love to help more pets find homes. 157 animals were adopted from off-site adoption partners in 2019. The SPCA will have more adoption events in 2020 with the hope of increasing their adoption numbers. Helping people get their tools calibrated and back to work, Cole Calibration cuts down wait time by servicing tools right in Lloydminster. Eric Bay has more in this week's BioClean Business Bio.
Forced to send their tools to Edmonton or Saskatoon, Cole Calibration now cuts down businesses' wait for tools by being the first place to offer calibration in Lloydminster.
So I like to say Cole Calibration was born of necessity. Before, clients were sending their equipment out of city, so either Edmonton or Saskatoon were the two closest ones previously for calibration and repair. So yeah, there was a demand for it. So it's adding value to the local clients by saving them on shipping costs and turnaround time. So we're turning wrenches around in one day, so that's pretty good.
Cole Calibration also offers free pickup and delivery for tools, keeping clients working.
Anywhere in the Lloydminster area, we will come to you, we'll pick up your tools, we'll deliver them. So if you have a whole bunch, you don't want to get them all done at the same time, give us a few, we'll bring some back, we can keep going that way.
Helping a wide variety of industries, Cole Calibration does work on many different types of tools.
Our main service industries would be oil field construction, tire and rim shops. They got to, you got to make sure that every one of those bolts is done to spec. So that's the whole idea behind calibration, is to make sure that the equipment is operating at its peak OEM specifications. So besides those other two industries, aviation, steel, building construction.
Servicing different industries, Cole Calibration also does work on all different brands of tools as well. And that's this week's BioClean Business Bio.
Homes are for everyone. Your home is your sanctuary, your oasis, your safe place. Let our family take care of yours while you get back to your life.
Now to our Abby St. John with the weather.
Thanks, Jasmine. Well, we are currently at -24 here in Lloydminster, fairly cloudy skies. We are under extreme cold warning, as if a lot of this region is Cold Lake, St. Albert, Vegreville, Edmonton, under that cold warning. And on the Saskatchewan side, the Battlefords, Maidstone, Unity, all under that extreme cold warning as well. 14-kilometer-per-hour winds coming in from the west-northwest, making it feel closer to -34 with that wind chill. Across Alberta, -20 out in Cold Lake and in Red Deer, -21 in Edmonton, Rocky Mountain House, -22 in Athabasca, -18 in Edson and Whitecourt, and -19 out in Jasper. And on the Saskatchewan side, -26 in Meadow Lake, -22 in Prince Albert, -23 in Melfort and Saskatoon, and -24 out in North Battleford. And overnight in North Battleford, as they are under that extreme cold warning, the temperature will drop significantly overnight to -33, and that wind will be at 13 kilometers per hour coming in from west-northwest. And then tomorrow there will be a daytime high of -21, and that wind will pick up to 17 kilometers per hour coming in from the south-southeast. In Cold Lake, also under that extreme cold warning, -32 overnight, and that wind will be at 6 kilometers per hour coming in from the west and pick up to 17 kilometers per hour coming in from the south-southeast tomorrow, with a daytime high of -21. Here in Lloydminster, also under that extreme cold warning, the temperature will drop to -31 overnight, and we could even get to -40 with that wind coming in from the west at 11 kilometers per hour, and then picking up to 17 kilometers per hour coming in from the south-southeast tomorrow, with a daytime high of -20 and a low of -31. It'll feel closer to -34 with that wind chill. And then on Saturday, a 68% chance of some snow with a high of -17, which will feel closer to -36 and a low of -22. On Sunday, there's a 56% chance of snow with a high of -25. Feel closer to -39 with that wind chill and a low of -37. That's a look at your 3-day forecast. We'll have more news coming up after the break.
Welcome back. An unpredictable year of weather in 2019 left farmers dealing with difficult harvest conditions, but this year's outlook is looking up. Eric Bay has more on what farmers can expect in this week's Ag Report.
Temperatures are expected to fluctuate up and down over the last few months of winter, which is expected to continue into the spring with some cold hanging around that could keep producers out of the fields.
The coolness that occurs could do one of two things. Number one, keep soil temperatures a little low and therefore leave us out of the fields for a little while longer. And the other thing is that we might warm up enough to stimulate some field work and get some crops going, and then we're going to run into that potential frost and freeze event.
With weather potentially delaying farmers, it would move growers further behind schedule, with some producers still stuck with crop in the field from last fall's harvest.
It just keeps going on. We're going to see spring being very difficult for some producers with trying to seed and harvest at the same time.
A wet summer that led into the fall left a large amount of crop unharvested. This year is expected to have average precipitation, which should keep last year's harvest from hell from happening again.
Well, let's put it this way: we will not be as wet as we were last summer. I think there's no way we're going to see that repeated. There are changes taking place in the atmosphere around the world that should shift us away from the last year or two or three biases that we've had.
Roughly 10% of crop was still left in the field at the end of November in both Alberta and Saskatchewan. Eric Bay, Primetime Local News.
This Ag Report is brought to you by the Lloydminster Co-op Agro Centre. Depend on them for product, tools, and expert advice. Shop at your local Lloyd Co-op Agro Centre with branch locations in Lashburn and Neilburg.
Now we'll take a look at your agriculture prices for today.
We're a part of less than 5% of Canadian auto body shops and Lloydminster's only locations with certified collision care recognition at City Centre Auto Body.
After finishing the first semester with a 9-3 record, the Rustlers are back and they're ready to dig in. The women's Lakeland volleyball team ended 2019 with an 8-game win streak. Their last game was against Grand Prairie, where they made a comeback from being down 2-0 to take the last W of the decade. Head coach Austin Dyer is hoping to keep up the momentum from the first semester after coming back from Christmas break.
We were playing pretty good volleyball by the end of the first semester, and so the hope is that we can pick up where we left off and just continue to find out how good this team can potentially be. We still got a long ways to go and a lot of work to do, but we're playing at a pretty good level, and so hopefully we can just continue to grow.
The team trained a bit over the break in Saskatoon, but player Bailey Wheeler mentioned that they still feel a little off. Wheeler says the main focus for the girls is to get back into their groove by starting simple.
The way we play, like ball control, getting our touches in right away, just getting the feel for things.
The girls will be looking to continue their win streak when they play Concordia Thunder this Friday and Saturday. This past weekend, the Lloydminster Curling Club hosted the U21 Alberta Curling Provincials. The top men's and women's team competed in a 5-day tournament to see who would represent Alberta at Nationals. To kick off the new year, the top 8 men's and women's curling teams met in the border city. Teams played 7 round-robin games, spanning from the 1st to the 4th.
Juniors is a very competitive field, but I think we can do well as a team there.
Ryan Jakes was one of the lucky few who got to move on to the playoff rounds. He finished first in the men's division and had a bye straight to the finals. In the finals, he would take on fellow Edmonton skip Jacob Libas. Libas put up a good fight, but the experienced Jakes would walk away as provincial champ in extra ends.
Last year we came up short. We lost the semifinal. On last rock as well, I had a draw, but I wrecked on the guard. So to make the last shot this year in the extra end feels really good, and to win it for the boys as well.
The women's side was not quite as simple. After the round robin, there was a three-way tie for first. Claire Booth, Abby Marks, and Zoe Cinnamon all made the playoffs, where Marks and Cinnamon would eventually meet in the finals. This game came down to the last rock.
I'm so excited to represent Alberta, especially with these girls. They're some of my best friends, and yeah, it's just an unreal feeling.
Team Marks and Team Jakes both curl for the University of Alberta, and this is the first time two U of A teams will be at nationals.
Yeah, for a while we've been going back and forth. We've never won two provincial titles at one time, always girls and then guys and back and forth.
Nationals will be in Langley, BC from the 18th to the 26th. Evan Kenny, Primetime Local Sports. Now for a look at the weather with our Abby St. John.
Thanks, Evan. We'll take a look at the satellite radar. We switch from the snowfall warning to the extreme cold warning now in areas Marwayne, Vermilion, Vegreville, St. Paul, Bonnyville, Cold Lake, Lac La Biche, Wainwright, all under that extreme cold warning, especially here in Lloydminster as well. Temperatures could be dropping to -40 tonight, so definitely make sure that you are somewhere warm. On the Saskatchewan side, the Battlefords, Macklin, Maidstone, St. Walburg, Meadow Lake, Unity area, all under that extreme cold warning, so definitely be cautious if you are going outside for long periods of time. -24 currently here in Lloydminster, as well as out in North Battleford, -23 in Macklin and Pearceland and in Green Lake, -22 in Isle Cross, -25 in Meadow Lake, St. Walburg and Maidstone. And on the Alberta side, -24 out in Marwayne and Wainwright and up in Lac La Biche, -20 in Cold Lake, -23 in Bonnyville and Provost, -22 in Vermilion and St. Paul, -25 out in Vegreville and -21 out in Edmonton. And tomorrow, -20 here in Lloydminster, as well as in Marwayne, Bonnyville, and St. Paul and Lac La Biche, -21 in Cold Lake, -19 in Vermilion, -17 in Wainwright and Vegreville, and -15 in Provost and out in Edmonton. And on the Saskatchewan side, -15 in Macklin, -21 in Maidstone, North Battleford, St. Walburg and Meadow Lake, -20 in Pearceland and Green Lake, and -22 up in Isle Cross. And overnight across the region, fairly cold, cold temperatures as most of the regions are under a extreme cold warning. -32 in Meadow Lake, Paradise Hill and Pearceland, -31 in Bonnyville and in Murnum, -30 in Provost and Wainwright, -33 in Unity, and -29 in Isle Cross, where they are experiencing some snowfall overnight. Your school day forecast for tomorrow at 8 a.m. it will be around -29, and by the time recess rolls around, the sun will be out, a little bit of cloud coverage, but it should be nice and sunny with a -28. And then lunchtime will be around -24, a little heavier cloud coverage, but still have that sun. And then by the time school is out, the clouds will also be out, and it will be -22 and a low of -31. And then on Saturday, it'll be a high of -17, a low of -22 with a 68% chance of some snow. On Sunday, a 56% chance of snow with a high of -25 and a low of -27. To start your week off, again on Monday, it'll be a high of -28 and a low of -31. On Tuesday, there's a 56% chance of snow with a mix of sun and cloud and a high of -31 and a low of -35. On Wednesday and Thursday, both a high of -29. The low on Wednesday will be a low of -36, and on Thursday, a low of -35. That's a look at your 7-day forecast. We'll have more news in the question of the day coming up after the break.
Our question of the day today has to do with a pretty big announcement that has come out of the UK, that Prince Harry and Meghan Markle will be stepping down from their royal duties, I guess you would say, and it's kind of shocked a lot of people that they've done this.
Yeah, it has shocked the royal family, and specifically, and a lot of people all across the world, because it just happened so suddenly. And but unsurprising that they have chosen, just due to all the press that Meghan Markle has been facing, a lot of scrutiny, a lot of harsh critics in the UK against her and stuff. So it's not all that surprising when you really think about it.
Yeah, she's had a lot of, there's been a lot of media attention on her, and it's not something you really expect when you go into a position like this. But at the same time, you know, if you're becoming a part of the royal family, that there is going to be a lot of attention. But we did get a lot of mixed opinions on our Facebook.
Yes, we did. A lot of people saying that, you know, it's their lives, they can do whatever they want. Lots of people saying that, yeah, come to Canada, that would be great. It would make the most sense staying in the Commonwealth. Some people aren't for it. They don't really get the idea behind it. They don't think it's very necessary. Someone said, I think they can do whatever they would like. He is far down the line. I think it was really starting to affect Meghan with postpartum depression. I couldn't imagine having my first baby and everyone watching me all the time. The pressure to always do the right thing, I think, was definitely getting to her.
Yes, there's definitely a mix of opinions for that, but for now we are going to be taking a look at your pet pictures. So thank you to everyone who submitted your pictures for Pet of the Day, and we will be giving away a Pet Pad gift card tomorrow.
We want to see your pets. Send photos of your pet and their name to our Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram to have them featured on Pet of the Day. Your name will be entered into a weekly draw for a gift certificate from the Pet Pad.
In studio with us, Renee Weinkauf, owner of World Class Gym, obviously coming off of a busy year. You had more and more clients in your area, and you're also dealing with more and more clients this time of the year because it is January, where you have many people coming in for their New Year's resolutions. So that's the focus here. Have you noticed a trend in the last couple of years in terms of the types of people that come in, or just what people are looking for when they come into your gym in January?
I mean, it's pretty obvious. Anyone in Lloydminster knows that I am really expanding into the athletes. I mean, which really pertains nothing to New Year's resolutions. But our gym has switched over to training a lot of sports athletes in Lloydminster right now.
Okay. And so you haven't seen a big influx on your side of things then?
It is. I mean, we're still getting a lot of extra people to the boot camps and stuff like that, which obviously this time of year is mostly weight loss and just healthy lifestyle changes, which we're still getting a lot of that. We still are.
Okay. And are the boot camps have been a more effective way of getting people to New Year's resolution goals, because you're kind of forcing people to get out of their comfort zone and to do something really difficult right away, rather than kind of leaving them to their own devices, trying to go one day at a time?
Yep. I mean, a lot of people are intimidated, obviously, right? Especially to go to a gym, a normal gym, where you got this buff guy over here and this misfit over here. And most of the people doing the New Year's resolutions aren't those people. They're looking at those people and they want to be those people, but they don't want to be around those people. They just don't. You know, you want to be comfortable in your environment. And they usually come to us, even on one-on-one with a trainer. It can be a little uncomfortable if you're new and you're kind of scared, but when you come into like the boot camp situation where you know nobody there is misfit, you know, everybody there is trying to make a change for a reason, so everybody's just like you. So that's why that kind of boot camp thing really suits a lot of people.
Okay. What are some of the other obstacles you find people run into when they have these New Year's resolution goals when it comes to fitness, nutrition, and exercise?
Number one thing is, you know, everybody sets themselves up for failure. It's the old, okay, it's go time, it's New Year's resolution, I got to work out 7 days a week and I gotta eat like an angel. And we all know that's leading you straight to failure.
So the realistic way to do it is to go simpler goals, basically?
That's right, baby steps. And I never tell anybody, I normally, when I get new clients, they're like, if they ask me to make them a diet, I'm like, no. Even though I can make money on making them a diet, I won't. The first couple months, I just say, keep it simple. Switch from eating everything you're eating to meat, vegetables, and fruit, and that's it. That's as simple it is for the first 3 months.
Okay.
You know?
So what would be an example of, say, let's say you eat a lot of, for candy bars, for example. What would be a type of food that can still kind of get you what you get from candy bars in terms of a sugar craving, but a little more healthy. It doesn't have to be a super healthy item.
Right. A lot of people switch to the old apples and peanut butter. Right. You get a little bit of the crunch, and you're still getting that awesome flavor of peanut butter, which almost everybody loves. But like a lot of people switch over to a lot of apples and oranges for their craving switch.
Okay. I can attest to apples. They still do the trick.
I love apples, yeah.
Certainly. And that when is it usually when people start tailing off? Is it right around the end of January, or do they make it farther than that?
No, I think it's 10% of people don't even make it past January, right? And then it keeps going and going and going, and then I think it's 12% of people that actually make it for the full year. So look at how much it just dwindles through that full year. You just keep losing people and losing people and losing people.
Now, is there a particular strategy you would say to people who are kind of starting out for the first time in terms of goal setting and then keeping track of those goals? So keeping a calendar or writing down when you're supposed to be, is that a good way to go, or is there anything else?
I really believe in a food journal. So everything that goes in your mouth, you write it down, whether it's good or bad, because then you're accountable. I mean, it sounds funny, but I had a girl come in this morning and say she had a chocolate bar in her mouth last night, and she was gonna she had her diary in front, and she spit it out because she knew she had to write it down. So it works. A food journal to me is the #1 thing for trying to make that little process into healthier eating.
Okay. And is there anything else, just as we finish up, something that people might not have thought about themselves, but is a really simple way to kind of help them on their fitness journey?
Plain and simple, to me, everybody can do it. We all can do it. We all have the tools. It's just, do you honestly want it, or is it just something you would like to do? Like that's what you want to be, or do you really want to work for it? You know?
For sure. And then to end it, do you have any particular date you want to circle in terms of something going on over at WCG?
No, I mean, we all started. I mean, we don't really have a start or stop of any of our classes. They're ongoing year round. So a lot of people are joining in right now. They're just starting to trickle in for those boot camps. And yeah, they are filling up. We got a lot of people right now. So anybody who wants to come on in and join the team. There ain't no certain type of people that fit in there. And we got, female trainers, we got male trainers, and everybody fits the part at WCG.
Absolutely. Thanks again for stopping in studio with us.
No problem, brother.
If you're hoping for sunshine, warm breezes, a beautiful getaway, well, you can get away, be transported to a gorgeous Greek island when Mamma Mia takes to the stage here at the Vic Juba Community Theater. Lloyd Comp High School, their fine arts program, is putting this show on, and there's going to be a lot of laughter, there's going to be a lot of great music, and a great story that you're going to hear when Mamma Mia takes to the stage. Opening night is coming up tomorrow night, but they've got a number of performances, so you can stop by the Vic Juba Community Theater box office to get your tickets, or you can go online, vicjubatheater.ca. Coming up a week from today, Hockey Day in Saskatchewan festivities will be underway in Hillmont. And a couple of the major events you'll want to check out are next Thursday night, the Celebrity Hockey Game featuring Wade Redden and friends. And then next Friday night is the huge banquet. Wade Redden's going to be one of the special guests. So is Tom Rennie and Marty McSorley as well, plus some great live music. The Dirt Rich Band will be performing, as will Jordan Pollard. And you've got an opportunity to see some great hockey games throughout next weekend. It'll be Hockey Day in Saskatchewan in Hillmont. And get your tickets now for the second annual Robbie Burns Night here in Lloydminster, coming up at the end of this month. Enjoy a little bit of haggis, a dram of scotch, some great Highland dancing, and a really fun night out. Well, whatever you choose to do this weekend, I hope you have a great one. I'm Heather Klegus, and that's what's happening.
Back in studio with Renee Weinkauf of World Class Gym. You mentioned when we talked to you previously that you do take a lot more athletes than you used to. And one of the things you've really been focusing on is a lot of sort of group classes or group workouts with kids anywhere from ages 10 to 16, even some younger. But you were saying that one of the groups you've actually liked working with most is kids that aren't specifically playing a sport but getting into these group classes.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people assume that the only kids that should be in a gym are these athletes. Hockey players, baseball players, and football players. I love training them all, but they're already athletes, right? So you get a pat on the back because they get stronger and bigger faster. Yes, you do. But there's also that group of kids that are shy, intimidated, scared to be in a gym, that want some change, but they don't want to play sports, but they want some change in their life. That's an amazing class to teach.
And what's the way you get those kids to kind of come out of their comfort zone and enjoy that setting?
One is that I know it sounds silly, but we have fun there. We're working out, we're sweating, we got music playing, we're joking around, and we're moving. Like I always say, movement is progression. These kids are not lifting heavy weights, they're not doing anything like that. We're just doing stuff that's fun, and it just keeps them moving. A lot of these kids have nothing to do with sports. They never wanted to play sports, they don't want to play sports, but they want some change.
And so just general sort of body weight exercises, things to kind of, you can then relate to any kind of daily task, I guess.
That's right, yeah. And like I said, you get all kinds of kids, girls, boys, all meshed together. Same thing, same as our adult classes. You got big, small, young, old. Everybody's working to get a transformation. It doesn't matter what the transformation is, whether it's a skinny boy that wants to get bigger, a bigger boy that wants to get smaller, or anything like that. Some kids come in and have mobility problems that join that class. Some kids can't touch their toes. Some kids need help just becoming, more versatile.
And that can kind of relate back to our conversation about New Year's resolutions, is that when you have other people working with you, that's something of a more motivating factor. So you have multiple people keeping each other accountable or pushing each other.
That's right. It takes the stress load off, right? I mean, like I said, if it's more like a fun scene, it doesn't feel like, you got to do this, you got to do this. Come on, 5 more, 3 more, 2 more. That doesn't happen. When you got it in a group, it's mostly timed and stuff like that, where if one person does 5 reps in that minute, does 5. This guy does 10. Doesn't matter. You're not sitting here getting drilled on what you need to do. You do it at your pace, so we get your type of transformation done.
And now with parents who put their kids in classes, some parents kind of might almost expect the kids to get to a certain level of fitness too early, or they're wanting their hockey parents, for example, might want their kid to get to a certain size. But you have to be sort of careful about how much work they put outside of the ice, because it's still obviously some rest time between their actual competition.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's very hard. I mean, it's totally different training what I do during season versus off season. I mean, right now, like my baseball players, I'm doing different workouts than I'm doing with my hockey players, right? My hockey players is high intensity. You're doing all kind of calisthenics. You're doing all kinds of jumping and skipping and stuff like that to get them faster and more agility stuff. Whereas during the off season, I'm doing more heavy weights to make them stronger to be able to push the stuff around or do their job a little better on the ice or on the field.
And I imagine there's an adjustment kind of relating back to the holiday season, that when you come off the holiday season, while some people stay active, some people also spend a lot of time in bed, whether they're sick or whether they're just getting rest from the past couple months of stress. When you get back into the gym, or you're trying to get into the gym, you have to know how to pace yourself at the start of it.
Yeah, I mean, even with our little athletes like we were just talking about, those kids all took like 2.5, 3 weeks off. So for them to come back on their first workout, if you want to make it look like the one that they just did 3 weeks ago, you're going to ruin them already. You got to start back over, baby step it again. Then next week, hit it again a little bit harder. But same with adults. You can't jump in 0 to 60, think that what you did 3 weeks ago, you're going to do right now. Once again, you're setting yourself up for a downfall.
And do you ever do do you think it's important to do a specific to each person assessment when they get into the gym for the first time? Or is it better to have sort of a baseline that it's available for everyone, and depending on your level of fitness and skill, you can go a little bit farther or not when they just start out? I mean.
Yeah, well, it all depends on our goal for that person. So a lot of times you have to do it individual stuff to make sure that it's only good for that person. Like I said, a lot of those groups, if it's a group class, it's hard to isolate one person in that class, because you're trying to get everybody going at once. So if it's someone that really needs some massive change, like especially on mobility stuff, then you kind of need the one-on-one thing. But in the group class, it doesn't matter. Everybody fits together, because like I said, one person does 5 reps, one does 10, it doesn't matter. But if it's a massive problem that we need to work through, like one kid's got a blown out knee, well, obviously I can't have him in the group because he can't do most of the stuff those other kids are doing.
Absolutely. Again, thank you for coming into studio, and best for this 2020 year. I'm sure it's going to be a busy one.
You too. Thank you.